In addition to this Places autocomplete, we can use other features of the Places library to add more to our site. Let's give the user the ability to search for places of interest within the map.
Instead of using autocomplete, I'm going to add a search box to enhance the user's search experience. Search box predicts what the user is typing in much the same way as autocomplete. The differences are that search box supplies an extended list of predictions, which can include places as defined by the Google Places API, plus suggested search queries, such as pizza near the Google office. However, we aren't able to restrict the search as much as autocomplete.
Let's add the ability for the user to view nearby points of interest like restaurants, parks, museums, etc. in our site.
In addition to Places autocomplete, we can use other features of the Places library to add value to our site. Let's give the user the ability to search for places of interest within the map. This is going to be a place search. Instead of using autocomplete, I'm going to add a search box to enhance the user's experience. Search box predicts what the user is typing in much the same way as Places autocomplete. The differences are that search box supplies an extended list of predictions, which can include places as defined by the Google Places API, plus suggested search queries, like pizza near the Google office. However, we aren't able to restrict the search as much as autocomplete. Let's add the ability for the user to view nearby points of interest, like restaurants, parks, museums, etc. in our site. We're going to add one last section to our HTML here, search for nearby places. We'll add a new text input, prompting the user to enter places of interest search, and another Go button. I'm creating a new search box instance in the initialize function and binding it to that text input that we just created. I'm also biasing the search box to within the bounds of the map. And I'm actually going to create two event listeners here. One for when the user selects an option from the pick list, so that's our places changed event. And one if the user types in something and clicks go without actually selecting one of the suggested search queries. So that's our click event. I'm creating a global place markers array here to use in both functions, so we can control the markers separately from our listings markers, and so that we have only one set of place markers on our map at a time. Also, remember our hide listings function? This one iterated through our markers array and set the map to null on all of the markers. We're actually going to expand that to make it generic. By making the markers array a variable that I pass into this, I actually allow us to use it for all of our sets of markers. So we're going to use this anytime we want to hide an array of markers on the map. Everywhere we used this before, I'm just going to pass in markers, which is our global listings array. I'm also going to use it now to control our place markers array. Now let's create the function that will execute when the user chooses a pick list value from the search box. I'm calling it search box places. When a user enters a value, they will be given common search queries. When the user then chooses one of those values from the options given in the search box, first we'll hide any place markers we have on the map from our last search. Then we'll find all the places that match our query. We'll do this using the searchbox.getPlaces method and assign them all into this places array. If we didn't find any places, we'll alert that to the user. If we do find places, we'll then call this createMarkersForPlaces function, which we'll define soon, and pass in our places array. We're separating this out because in both our search box places function and our text search function, which is the other event listener that we created, we'll do the same thing. Now we'll define our text search places function. So again, this is the function that will execute if, instead of choosing a value from the pick list, the user enters a search query or a location and then clicks on the Go button. First, we'll capture the bounds of the map. Then, we'll hide any existing place markers that may already be on the map. We'll then create a new Places service instance and call the text search function. We'll pass in our user-entered query and the bounds of the map. When we get the results back, which is the places array, if the status is okay, we'll call the same createMarkersForPlaces function, passing in that places array. Let's create this createMarkersForPlaces function now. Okay, so at this point, we've gotten an array of places back from both our places service text search and our searchbox.getPlaces method. What we need to do with these places is iterate through them and create a marker per place. So for each of the places in this places array, we'll capture a bunch of the information about the place. We'll get the icon, which we'll use as the marker icon. This is either a fork and knife for a restaurant, a martini glass for a bar, etc. It's just kind of a cute feature. We'll get the place name, which we'll use as the marker title. We'll get the place's location, which we'll use as the marker's position. And we'll capture the place ID as the marker ID. We'll use that place ID later so that we can get more details if a user clicks on that marker. We'll push each marker that we create into our place markers array, and we'll adjust the bounds of the map to appropriately fit all of the place markers that we return. By default, 20 places are returned in both of these searches. Let's test out both searches. First, I'm going to enter a search query and choose one from the pick list. These are all of our places. It's pretty concentrated here. Next, I'm going to enter a query and click the Go button. So far, we can see the title if we hover over the marker, but we're going to need to get a lot more details about these places. We'll find out how to do that in the next lesson.
Let's take a break before getting all the details about these places to see just how fast autocomplete is.